it's kind of a thing about this debate. You could do it here because we don't have inspections. So anything you do, no one will ever find out you have on your car.
Welcome back, guys, to Feel the Drive and the Downshift podcast. I am here with Car Guy Tom, or on YouTube, just a car guy named Tom. Tom, welcome to the podcast. How you been?
I've been good. About you? Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. Yeah, I've been quite good. How's the lockdown situation over in the States?
I've been essential every day, so I've been going into work. Gotta love it. I still gotta work, so just can't really go to car shows as much right now. And what we do, we gotta wear a mask everywhere. They just started the mask requirements, so now everywhere in public we gotta wear one.
Yeah, we've got the same thing here where in shops now, I think just this weekend, it's mandatory to wear masks in every shop we go to. So, I mean, it's a big change, but it's safer for everyone, and at least we can still go to car shows.
Right. Yeah, it's fun when you finally go to a car show, but it's like, yeah, I'm waiting for winter time because it's hot here, so it's annoying to wear a mask and you start sweating and then it gets all gross and you can't breathe.
Yeah, no, I know. Here in England, we have some nice cool weather, so it's not as bad, but public transport always gets hot and sweaty, so with a mask, it's not any better.
Right.
So, so let's jump into cars. You have a pretty cool car on your channel, which is the Mustang. So why don't you tell people a little bit about that?
2018 Mustang GT Performance Pack Level 1. And I guess most of your viewers, I don't know if your viewers are primarily English like you, but
yeah,
Mustangs are very interesting here because it's a very common car. They're cheap compared to over in Europe. You know, in Europe, they're expensive. You don't see a lot of them. Over here, we go to a car show, it's all Mustangs. So it definitely, for me, it was my first enthusiast car, as I like to say, because before that, I always had ordinary cars. I had a Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. So for me, it was my first real fun car, first vehicle I took to car shows. I got to know a lot of people. And of course, it was what helped grow my channel beyond, what did I have when I got the Mustang? I had maybe like 200, 300 subscribers.
Yeah. Got
the Mustang, of course, grew immediately to over 1,000. So it was definitely a car that I bought to help the channel get into modifying cars. It's been a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of people just because of that car.
Yeah. What kind of stuff have you done to it so far?
Right now, it's just all cosmetic mods. I've done a lot of lighting upgrades. Let's see, what else have I done with it? Did they call taillight sequencers. That was actually the first mod I ever did. A lot of people know with the Mustangs, they have, when you put on the turn signal, they sequence, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool little feature. So what I did is they're sequenced now for all of the features. When I tap the brakes, they come on, the four ways. It's pretty awesome looking. And I went to all LED bulbs on that car. And then I've got exhaust, which that's a really fun cultural thing to mention because over here where I live in Florida, we don't have inspection. So you can have your car as loud as you want.
Yeah. But I guess I've heard the California laws are insanely strict. So any type of modified exhaust is a massive no.
Right. My car would be illegal in California. The big difference, I went with the active exhaust on that car, which it's awesome because I can actually put it in quiet mode and it sounds like an ordinary car. Then I can open it up and it sounds much louder. And I think it sounds really good. It never comes through right on video, but I get a lot of compliments on it.
Yeah, and I can imagine. Video can never, I guess, unless you have some insanely expensive microphone to try and pick it up, you still never get the right sound of it, do you?
No, you just never will be perfect on video, but I like to do cold starts on the videos for anyone who's checked out my channel. I love the cold starts, and if you heard the car in person, you'd know why. It's like it's really good to me. It shakes the whole house when I start it up sometimes.
Have you had any complaints from the neighbours for your exhaust in the Mustang?
I've had a couple, not really complaints, but they'll mention that there's actually around the corner from me, the gentleman who lives in that house, he actually complained. He's not really complained, but he's mentioned to me a couple times, yeah, I can hear it when you start it up. but But what's really cool about the car, as I mentioned, it's got the active exhaust. You can actually set it to be quiet at a certain time. So for right now, for my car, 10 p.m. to 8 a.m., it automatically starts in quiet mode, which is amazing.
That's amazing. The
Yeah, I really
technology
love
has come
that.
that far just for the exhaust that you can set it that it's quiet at a certain time. That's wild.
Right. Yeah, and it's like, man, I remember reading about that, and I wanted the active exhaust originally just for quiet mode. And this was in late 2017, as I knew I wanted the car. We have an auto show here every year, Tampa Bay International Auto Show. It's not really one. It's not like Geneva or New
Yeah.
York or Los Angeles, but it's nice because you can see the cars. You're not under pressure from a salesman to buy it. They have test drives, so they had, and at the time it was brand new 18 Mustang, and it had the active exhaust. So I went and test drove it, and I was like, I wanted the active exhaust. I wasn't quite sold. Like, how quiet is it? And we have in Florida, we don't have a lot of mountains, but there's like one tunnel. The auto show happens in downtown. It goes under one of the buildings, and the salesman, whatever you want to call him, riding with me says, "Yeah, go through that tunnel, punch it." And I heard it, and I was like, "Boy, that sounds really good. Yeah, that's it. I'm sold. I want it. I will gladly pay the extra money for it."
Yeah, they positioned themselves well to have the only tunnel around you to do the car show.
Yeah, it was like perfect. I don't even really want to call it a tunnel. It's underpass. It happens to be enclosed on the sides. We get a lot of bridges, but it was like the only tunnel in the whole Tampa Bay area, and it was like, it was worth it. It sold me on the car. I was like, that's it. I want it. I made my mind up. I custom ordered that car. It was January of 2018. They actually had a big snowstorm in Michigan where they build the cars, and so I actually got delayed. So I got it in March of 2018. Well worth it. I mean, custom ordering a car, it was a little frustrating because it's like you pay money for this car, and it's like, I haven't even seen the car. I hope it's what I ordered. Is it gonna meet my expectation? And you finally get it, and it's like, this is it. And on top of that, it's mine. It will always be in the history of the car. If I ever sell it, it's going to go in history as, it was a custom ordered car. So I really love that about it.
Yeah. So apart from the active exhaust, what else did you get custom made on it?
At the time, I actually wanted I didn't think I needed the leather. And I believe that's actually another difference, if I remember correctly. In Europe, Mustangs only come with leather. I actually got a cloth interior. At the time, I thought I was going to turn it into a full race car. So I was like, cloth is lighter anyway. So I custom ordered the cloth interior with what they call the 301A package, which is, I like to call it the premium with cloth seats. I get almost all of the tech, but with cloth. It's not really a rare spec, but not as many of them come up. And then on top of that, I wanted the alarm, get a little insurance discount. So it's got an alarm system from the factory.
Okay, that's an option. Alarm systems are an option.
Yes, I don't think it's as good as like a full aftermarket alarm, but it tells me when I lock the car, it says alarm armed, and it says if I were trying to open the door with it locked, it would probably go off. So definitely, it was worth it. I'm glad I got it. And when I was having the windows tinted, they have a little trick. You pull the door latch so it thinks the doors are closed. So Mustangs, the windows go down a little bit when you open the door, so they trick it to open it. The alarm kept going off, so clearly it works.
No, that's good. I've recently just upgraded cars, and my other car didn't have any alarm system in it, or it never mobilized it. So if any other car alarms went off, I'm like, yeah, it's not my car, someone's trying to take.
Right. I hear that all the time. I hear an alarm go off, and I look over. It's like, is that mine? Okay, I don't see my lights going. It's not my car.
Yeah.
I've done that before. We get the key in your pocket, and you bend over, and then there it goes. I've done that a lot.
So yeah, you said you're planning on making it a full track race car. Is that still on the books, or have you taken a different direction with it now?
I'm actually really leaning right now towards just a full-blown show car. I still want to boost it. I still want to kind of build it for performance, but the problem with when you build it as a full track car, it's going to get damaged. You're always worried about, am I going to wreck it? And then on top of that, it seems like when things break, that costs a lot of money. So I still want to put it on the track at some point. I want to take it down the drag strip. I'm actually only about 3 hours from Sebring, so I'm definitely thinking about putting it around there. But I think long term, I think it's going to be more of a show car. It's going to be definitely a lot about appearance. Put it into some car shows, because around where I live, we got a big show car scene. A lot of people like to show off their cars, and it first time I ever put it in a car show, I never really got it. Like, oh, these guys are just cleaning up their cars just to show them off. But when you have your car perfectly clean, you've got the engine, hood open, bonnet, I guess, and translate to British English here. When you got your hood open, you're showing off that engine bay. It looks really cool. People, and you see someone taking a picture of it. It's like, man, that could be my car someday. So it's an option. I keep it open, but I kind of want to do both. I want to make it a little of everything.
Yeah,
but I don't want to pull the interior out either. That was another one. You see guys with like in Florida, and this is perfectly legal once again, you see people with full roll cages driving on the street. Like, man, so you got to climb in through that roll cage every time you want to drive the car. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I take it in Florida, you can't delete the aircon. That has to stay in the car.
I live in Florida, and summertime here is 90 plus degrees Fahrenheit, which I believe is 35-ish Celsius.
Something like that.
It's hot. It's deleting your air conditioning here is not an option, because you will sweat. And then on top of that, it's humid in Florida. It's about like living in a jungle down here. So you delete the air conditioning, and it's not even about comfort at that point. It's borderline a safety issue.
It's about surviving the trip.
Right. I see people do it, and I'm like, why would you do that? All for 10 horsepower.
Because race car, bro. That's why.
Because race car. Like, bro, it's because race car. Yeah, I get it.
It's really funny you said that you're really close to Sebring. It's only 3 hours away, whereas 3 hours would let me cross the country here.
Right.
I could get to pretty much every track within 3 hours of where I am.
Right. Because I think we got Sebring, because that's 2 hours. That's I'm 2.5 if you drove quickly. Palm Beach, I think there's a track in Palm Beach. That's about 4 hours away. There's Florida International Raceway. I believe that's in the other direction. That's another 3 or so hours. They're good. Each one is like a good 3-hour drive, but we have multiple tracks in this area. And in some places in the U.S., you're a good day or two from everything.
Yeah, that's wild that the States is so big that
right,
like a 3-hour trip that's just normal, easy trip that you do without thinking about it. I mean, there's some people here that won't see their family because they're too far away, but they're a 45-minute drive away.
Yeah, like 45 minutes, that's nothing. That's my girlfriend lives 45 minutes from me, so I do that every weekend just about. I drive an hour for work, so for me drives aren't as bad. It sucks. I still hate driving, but it's 3 hours.
What part of driving do you hate? Is it the traffic and the not being able to drive the car properly, or is it just that you're driving in a boring kind of road?
It's traffic, and mostly traffic, because Florida drivers are some of the worst. I mean, I think New York City is easily the worst place for driving in the U.S., and there's plenty of like third world countries where I clearly would not want to drive. It's wherever cars going whatever direction they feel like going. Florida traffic people do a lot of just crazy things multiple times a day. I'm just driving and say, what in the world are you doing that for? What possessed you to think that was a good idea? And that's cleaned up a lot. You don't listen to me driving, because there's the meme about it. It's like, scientists have invented a shot collar every time someone swears, and it's like me driving, skeleton. That'd be me.
I'd be in the same position as you.
Believe me, that's me. And I don't know if you follow my channel extremely closely, but I got into a car accident back in May where old woman decided to make an illegal U-turn right in front of me and totaled my daily driver. So
yeah, that's crazy how people can just not see or not care and just go, oh, whoops.
Yeah,
it's a lot more than just, oh, whoops.
That was a big oh whoops for her. It was, of course, my daily got totaled, so every dollar right now that I was getting ready to put into the Mustang has to go towards a car payment again. But
yeah. So what's your daily now?
it's another Toyota Tacoma, which everyone says the equivalent in Europe would be a Hilux, which yes and no. It's the same size as a Hilux, but it is way more luxurious than a Hilux.
Do you think that's to fit in more to the American market where it's just bigger cars, so bigger luxury inside, whereas in the UK, we don't really use pickups. It's just farmers that use pickups, so they're not
Right. It's
cruising around the cities in them.
right. That's really what it is. Of course we love pickup trucks, and my job, everyone drives a truck just about. And yes, everyone wants a luxury feature. Everyone wants everything with that in a truck. And the reality is, it's like no one even hauls things into bed. Farmers use trucks here, but then everyone else has a truck. So,
Yeah. So what is it? Do you think with America and pickup trucks?
uh, the macho, manly American feeling. I mean, I like it. I like it because they're safe. I mean, is that with that accident, I walked away. The airbag went off. The worst injury I got was the airbag burned my wrist, and that was the single worst injury. And I mean, with a small car, I probably would have been worse if I was in something like a little Euro Econo
Like a
box.
hatchback, yeah.
It probably would have been worse. I mean, then again, she had a big Chevy Impala, which is another big American car. I mean, props to Chevy on that one. That thing, it was totaled as well, but it didn't look that bad in terms of damage. It had everyone drives big cars here, so you see little cars, and I feel like I'd get run off the road easily. So
Yeah.
definitely, that's one of my reasons for wanting a big truck.
Yeah. Okay. Delivery's just turned up. I'm going to pause the recording and I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
All right.
All right. Really sorry. I'll be back. Right. Okay. So we're back. So yeah, pickup trucks. You said earlier that one of the things you did with your Mustang was a lot of lighting modifications. And I've seen a lot of the lighting modification stuff in the States is done to trucks or
Right.
pickups. Do you think that having a pickup that kind of modification stuff has moved onto the Mustang in terms of the lighting?
Somewhat. I mean, pickup trucks, people do a lot of light bars, a lot of lighting that's realistically, they say it's for off-road. I'm like, well, we both know that truck's not going off-road. It's way too clean. And the Mustangs, I don't see a lot of like extra lights. A lot of things with Mustangs, it's a lot more. I see lights replacing the factory lights most of the time. I mean, every once in a while, people do. I guess it's illegal to modify headlights over there. I think. Is it?
I think with some of them, yeah, with some cars, I think you can get away with the BMW Angel Eyes, but that's a very fine line
Okay.
you can get away with. But yeah, I don't think you can go crazy on adding lights.
Okay. Because yeah, over here, what I see a lot of, and I know there's a kit for the Mustang to do this. In fact, I think they pretty much have a kit for all vehicles now. You put a RGB W board inside your headlights. You can change the colors. I see a lot of people do that. I figured that's one of those things that's more than likely illegal over there. Because
Yeah, that's definitely very illegal. I mean, when I was growing up and getting my first car, I was looking at, it was probably before that, but I was playing Need for Speed, and you see Fast and Furious with all the neon lights under the car. So I was finding out whether you could actually do that, but you can't because the back of the car has to only be red, so that you can
right,
see, because that's the brake lights. The front of the car can't be red, and the sides of the car can't be red. So you'd have to have different colors for each side, or just not run it, or get pulled over by the police for running wrong colors.
right. I mean, over here you can actually technically you can't run red and blue lights. There's always debates about it. You can't have red and blue flashing for obvious reasons, and you're impersonating a cop. You can't have. Someone said you can't have blue entirely while you're moving from the government, but at the same time, it's like, well, you don't do it while you're driving because obviously you will get pulled over and given a ticket.
Yeah. So what is the thing with inspections then? I've never been to the States that long to have a car inspected. So what's the deal?
all done by each state. Originally, I'm actually from the state of Virginia, which is car inspection. And if you live, of course, our capital, Washington, D.C., if you live in a county that's near the capital, you can get emissions inspections. Now, of course, that's Virginia. Their laws are all completely different than anyone else. You mentioned California, and California is its own extremely strict setup. Not only do they get inspections, they get emissions, they get smog inspections. California, we always have a joke about California. Everybody stays out of California. I always thought that sounded like you can't be a car enthusiast, but everyone I know in California says that you can still be an enthusiast, you just got to work around the laws. And then I mentioned Florida here, where I live. It's one of the most open and liberal states. Here, you can do whatever. We can go the full cat delete on the car. Like everyone who runs a diesel, they delete the diesels. We have the DEF tanks, diesel emissions fluid, or diesel exhaust fluid, I guess depending on what definition you use. People can just delete that off of diesel vehicles entirely. No one can stop us.
Yeah, here in the UK we have something called the MOT, which is just like, I guess it is just an inspection, just make sure the car's safe and everything's legal. But yeah, we get emissions tested as well. You get it every year. You have to go through it.
Right.
So
yes, we had the.
Yeah, no, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so I'm from Virginia originally. Like I said, we had basically the same thing. State inspection, you get a little sticker to put on your windshield that says inspected and then good until whatever date is.
Oh wow, you have to get a physical sticker to put on your car to show it's been inspected.
Right, in states like Virginia, I know New York has that, Pennsylvania. I don't know for every state, but I know northern states typically have that. I think Ohio is another weird one where they're like Florida, they have no inspections whatsoever.
So does that mean that people are driving around in cars that are really not safe to drive? Because no one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, you see cars around here. It's like, how is that still on the road? I've seen cars where it was clearly in an accident, and and they must have said, "Wow, it still starts. I'm just going to keep driving it." And it's like that, and that's okay. You're okay with that?
Yeah.
Eventually, now they could get pulled over, and then they might get told, "Hey, take that off the road." It's legal to do, but legal. There's a lot of things in Florida where it's like it might be legal to do that, but if you get caught doing it, you might not do it.
That's brilliant. That's so wild.
It's a weird state down here, and then as I mentioned earlier with the exhaust, like we can do all these crazy exhausts. Now, if a police officer pulls you over and they're having a bad day, and I've heard many people say this, if they're having a particularly bad day, they might actually still give you an exhaust ticket. 99% of them aren't. Most of them are just going to let it go because what are you going to do? If you enforce it one time, you'd have to enforce it with everybody. And
yeah,
people straight pipe their cars. People just take sawzalls, just cut the exhaust straight off and run it completely open, and it can get loud. Car shows here are loud. Actually, funny story about that. A while ago, I was at one of our local meets. We had a Canadian come down. Really cool guy. He had actually messaged me on Instagram wanting to know all about it, and I said, this is one of the best car meets around. If you're going to be here for Monday night, come on out. It was one I used to post regularly on my Instagram, little restaurant called Quaker Steak and Lube.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome little place. And some of everything would always show up. You follow me on Instagram, you're probably familiar with all the pictures, and everyone's always in shock. So this guy comes in, and we're talking. We both did photography. It's a whole nother thing I can get into here. Is I love photography. So anyway, we're talking. Suddenly, an NSX comes in behind us, and I just watched him break his neck. Like, whoa, an NSX! They just drive around out here? Yeah, I just around. I saw one in traffic yesterday. Like, just out and about. And he was in shock because everything coming in was straight pipe. So he's like, "It's legal to do that?" I had to explain to this guy. I was like, "Yeah, we're in Florida. It's perfectly legal to do everything here. You see all sorts of cars and just."
Yeah, well, it can't be illegal if it's just legal. So,
Right. I mean, some of it, it's like it's illegal, but you're not going to get caught. Some of it is like it's all over the place. You see so many just weird things, and it's like that can't be legal. It's like, no, it's technically not illegal. So,
what's the craziest thing you've seen done to a car that is technically not illegal?
God, what is the absolute craziest thing I've seen? Probably it was a Ford Crown Vic. I don't know if you follow Cletus McFarland.
Yeah.
Okay, you do. So you're familiar with the Crown Vic, formerly our cop cars around here. It was a lifted Crown Victoria, Mad Max style. It just had all the lights on it and everything. Like we were talking about, mostly pickup trucks have lights. This one was on a car, mud tires, suspension lift. It was like the guy literally said it's like Mad Max.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. And everyone no one bats an eye. I remember I think I took a picture of it. It's somewhere buried on my Instagram, but that was probably the craziest one because I'm thinking, man, in so many other states you wouldn't get away with any of that. And that's if we're on the subject of the illegality, that one was definitely it because clearly in Florida that's perfectly legal. In many other places, in fact, a lot of states around here, if you lift a truck or SUV and you want to stick your tires out, there's a limit of how far out you can actually have your tires poking through the fender. In Florida, that's another big one. No one cares. We see Jeeps, pickup trucks. Every once in a great while, I'll see something like a Land Rover that's lifted and wheels just stick out. And it's, yeah, perfectly legal.
And why is Florida so open with having no inspection, very little car restrictions or modification? Is it just because Florida's a crazy place and always has been, or is it just no one really cares?
It's just no one really cares because, I mean, from my understanding, my dad's a native of Florida. He was telling me all about back in the day, 50, 60 years ago, they had all of that. They had inspections. They tried emissions testing. And supposedly they all sat down and did a government study and just said, this really isn't doing anything. Is it really making cars safer? And that's welcome to America with government studies where someone can do a study and prove one thing one way or another. Effectively, they just said, this is costing us all this money and all this taxpayer money to do. And in reality, it's not saving any lives at all. Let's just go ahead and stop wasting our time.
All for profit.
Basically, because where I'm from in Virginia, like I said, going back to, at state, I've heard stories where when you go to get your car inspected, you get your annual state inspection, some shops, you go to a repair shop to do it. You don't go to someone run by the state. In Florida, it was all run by the state because every state's different. In Virginia, you'd go to a repair shop. And they might not be honest, so they might tell you, we're not going to pass your inspection unless you fix this. Pay us some large sum of money to fix this. And
yeah, it's a little bit similar in the UK, where you go to just any garage or repair shop that has an MOT license and the facilities to do all the testing. But you can also just go on the government website and see everything that needs to pass to get it past its MOT. So if a garage tells you, oh, this is wrong with it, you can go and look at the car and say, well, no, it's not, because that's the right place. Just, you're going to charge me, an extortionate amount of money to change a light bulb? Well, no. So a lot of people that aren't car savvy will just say, okay, yeah, whatever it needs to be paid through to do it. But I guess it's the same over there with when you do have inspections. If someone tries to hustle you for more cash than needed, if you know about it, you can just say, well, actually, no.
Yeah, that's why, from what I heard in the state of Florida, when they used to have inspections, that's why it was always run by the state, is to try to eliminate that. But it didn't really help. I mean, supposedly there was some famous story. This is an urban legend. I don't know if this is true or not, but they took off the wheel to inspect the brakes. Okay, brake is safe. They put the wheel back on and didn't tighten down the lug nuts, and then the person got into a major accident because of that. it's an urban legend. I have never found if this is true or not, but supposedly that's one of the reasons they don't do inspections here. They just said it's costing them all this money, and is it really? If a car's safe, it'll still be on the road.
Well, that's the idea. Although,
Yeah. Like I
apparently,
said,
according to you, if you look outside, there might be a broken car driving down the road.
and like I said, every day I see some car where it's like, how is that thing running? It's the number of old Fords I see around here burning oil. Just like, well, you're killing some bugs or mosquitoes because you just see the plume of white smoke behind them. It's incredible.
Yeah. So you also said another thing you're into is photography. So
Right.
How did you get into that?
Well, I wanted to get into Instagram. I guess I don't think I mentioned this on my channel. I actually just finished my master's degree. When I started that, I said I knew I was going to have all this free time. I knew I wanted to get into Instagram. I figured do that and it'll help grow the YouTube channel. So I actually signed up for an elective while I was taking a master's degree. I took intro photography, university, college, whatever you want to call it. I guess university, we say college, but university level photography class. I just think let's have some fun with it. Went out and bought a DSLR, which of course I used to film for the channel. I figured also a lot of photography knowledge translates over to YouTube. So it was kind of wanting to get into Instagram and also improve YouTube. And so I would go out and just for the sake of learning it, I would go out and take photos at car shows, and people at the car shows would really like that. They said, "Why, you take some really good photos." It just kind of evolved into me wanting to do photography. So later down the road, about a year after that, my dad goes to yard sales. My parents love to do yard sales. I guess I don't know what the equivalent in Europe would be, but
I think it's the
basically
same.
people just okay. So I figured you all have yard sales. He found an old Canon AE1 film camera, which is famous film camera. He bought it for $10, which was an incredible bargain because they're worth 10 times that. They're worth $100 camera. It just needed a little bit of work, and it works. It takes excellent photos. So I went and started. At first, I was just figured, I'll just mess around with that and probably make sure it works, then sell it. And took some pictures of my car with it, and thought, man, this is actually a really cool camera. So the rest is history. And then I ended up going and buying myself another film camera. And then, of course, every time I go to car shows, I like to take photos for Instagram. And then it just kind of blossomed from there, and figured, photography's cool. At one point, I actually thought about starting a business with it. Some people still ask me about that. Well, the problem with photography business, now I got to convince you that, hey, my camera is better than your phone.
Yeah.
This is not as good of a camera as my real camera, so it never really got off the ground. Nobody wants to pay, so that's the thing. Everyone, as soon as you mention, like, I'm going to charge this amount. Ooh, that's a lot of money. Yeah, that's for taking the photos, editing them. You want good photos, they're going to cost you money. I mean, if you just want photos,
take them yourself. Yeah.
Take it yourself. I mean, go buy a camera. But yeah, anyway, that's kind of how it came about, just deciding to want to take better photos for Instagram, and then later just kind of turned into a hobby in its own right. I haven't even been able to take that many photos right now just due to the coronavirus. Can't go anywhere right now. For a while, when they started the lockdown, they didn't want anyone out. And I'm sure you've seen the news about the protests and the riots over here.
Yeah, and Disneyland opening up.
Yep, Disney. Yeah, that was a big one with Disneyland. I'm just like, wow, they're actually going to open, but I'm not going to go because I'm not wearing a mask in the 90-degree heat.
Yeah, so just trying to avoid it as much as possible. Then.
Right. Yeah, we had the riots and the protests for a while. So we locally here had a curfew. So it was like couldn't even go take pictures if I wanted to. So I haven't really trying to get back into that. That's going to be coming soon on my channel. I like to vlog the photography stuff just because it's fun. It gives me some different content. I figured let's bring in a new viewer to it. Kind of combine my two loves of cars and photography. So it's been fun. People really enjoy that.
Yeah, they do go really well together, and you spend a lot of time cleaning the car and then taking pictures of it, and you're also doing your videos on the car. So
Right.
they kind of go hand in hand.
Right. And I actually heard advice a while ago, and this was actually heard it twice, kind of stated two different ways. One was from another content creator, and then also the professor at the university when I took the photography class. He said, whenever you do a mod for your car and you modify something, take a picture of it, do a photo shoot with it. You'll really enjoy that, because then you can look back at the photos later on, and it's like you have a photo album, you have a memory stored. You can go and see, like, hey, this was the car, back in the day. This was it when it was stock. I remember I did one. It was the side markers on the car. They come with these little bulbs in the center, and it looks awful from the factory. So I changed it out for a full LED strip. I went and did some night shots of it, and people were like, wow, this is actually really cool. Now I look back on it, it's like, yeah, see, that was cool. And then there weren't even as many mods on the car then, and that was like, man, everything I've done leads up to it. So then by the time the car gets fully done, it's like, wow, you can really see the difference.
Yeah. Do you sometimes go back and look at pictures when you got the car to now and think, wow, that's like completely different to what it started out as?
Right. I do that a lot, actually. I see the pictures from, there's actually one picture I took. It was the day I got the car in the driveway, and I was like, wow. One, it's probably never been that clean since, because it was fully spotless. Like, wow, that thing looked so good. I didn't even have window tint on it. So it was one of the first things I did was I had window tint put on the car. So that way, not only does it look better, it stays a lot cooler in the Florida sun. It was like, wow, it's not even seeing the window tint. One of the ones I look back on, it was actually the salesman when I ordered the car. He texted me a picture as it came off the truck. They pull it off the truck, and he took a quick picture. It had all the wrapping still on. And I look back at that, it's like, man, that was it. That car was destined for good life at that point. I knew it was like, that's mine. That was custom ordered.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you said you started the YouTube channel with your daily and then got the Mustang. So
Right.
what made you want to start a YouTube channel?
At the time, I was actually watching a lot of content. Actually, at the time, I didn't even know you could make money. This was 2016 or so. I started watching a lot more YouTube, and I kept thinking, wow, these guys. It was actually Street Speed 717 at the time. It was one of the first ones I came across. At the time, he had my dream car, Corvette Z06. I'm like, wow, this guy's like a year older than me, has this awesome car. How in the world does he get all this money? And somehow, and then I think he made a video, he mentioned something about, well, the money I make from YouTube. I was like, money you make from YouTube? What? I looked it up, I was like, you can make money off of this. This guy's looking like he's having a lot of fun. He's getting this awesome car. At the time, it was like I knew I wanted a car. I was in my last year or so of my bachelor's degree. I said, man, I'm gonna make it my graduation present. When I finish this degree, I'm gonna get something. I didn't know it was gonna be a Mustang at the time. In fact, I thought it was gonna be a Camaro. I was thinking, this is what I want. So wait, this guy makes a YouTube channel, makes content with the car, and owns his dream car. How do I start? How can I do this? So I went and did it and thought, well, maybe this channel will grow. And then come to find out, YouTube's a little harder to do than you'd think. I know a lot of people seem to think YouTube is this easy thing. It's like, no, you got to put some effort into your content to grow. But at the time, that's what I had was my daily driver 2013 Tacoma. And I thought I was going to do some mods with that. Get the channel growing and then get the Mustang. And then at the time, I thought Camaro and really grow the channel. But then, time went on. I remember when I hit 100 subscribers. At that point, it was like I knew I wanted. At that point, I decided on a Mustang. I said, "This is it. Let's stick with this. This could be something great if I really put the time and effort into it."
Yeah, and how long ago was that now?
That was 3 years ago, actually, because I started in February of 2017. That was the first video I posted, and then I hit 100 subscribers. It was August of 2017, so it was a few months. And back then, anybody could be monetized. They didn't have the 1,000 subscriber
Yeah.
requirement then. So I
It's
remember
the 4,000 watch hours a month or something, wasn't it?
right, right. It was, yeah, at the time you could just make a channel and you could make money. Now you wouldn't make a lot of money. It took me 6 months to even make the minimum to get paid. So it didn't. I was like, yeah, I'm making money, all of pennies a day. It was by the time I was actually getting paid regularly, it was definitely nice. And I still don't earn a whole lot. I mean, people seem to think YouTube is this big cash cow, and it's like, no, it's. But I like to tell people, YouTube's a business. It's not a job. It's a business. You don't get a consistent income. You have to put effort in. You have to make content in order to get the money out. And then you have to be willing to put money into the business to grow it. Like with car YouTubers, you're going to need a good car. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone always gives the advice of, well, it's not consistency. It's like, you need a cool car, man. You can't just make a channel with, because I learned, just making with your standard Toyota, you can't really make you make a good channel, but you can't really make a great channel.
Yeah, it has to have some, like a wow factor to it, or at least some variety.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think the hardest thing was about starting up the YouTube channel?
Probably just getting enough subscribers to get YouTube to pick up the algorithm. Because, I mean, I look at the big YouTubers, and all the good ones, I feel like have a personality to them that people like, and that was kind of one of the big challenges was convincing people that you have that personality to get them to subscribe. Like, I guess you're familiar with Doug DeMuro.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost everyone is. He's one of those. Everyone makes fun of this. Everyone does that. It's like he has that certain personality. When I watch his videos, it's like, I like this guy. Like, I don't know him. He's a complete stranger to me, but I feel like I'd like him. And he does the More Doug DeMuro, his second channel. One day I binged watched his house reviews, and I'm like, oh, this guy's good. Suddenly I want to buy the house now he's reviewing. It's just having that personality that you're trying to convince people that to subscribe. Like, hey, you don't just like me because of my car. You actually like me as a personality.
Yeah. And do you think you've gotten to that stage yet where you've got subscribers who are following you more for your personality rather than, oh, this person's got a Mustang or the Tacoma?
I definitely feel like I'm getting there, because I actually have got a lot of the Mustang subscribers are commenting on the Tacoma videos and vice versa. I think we're getting there with the people do kind of enjoy what I'm making. So I think just finding the people that definitely do like me, and we're starting to get there. I know once I introduced my girlfriend to the channel, I had her. She goes to car shows with me, and I decided, I'll have her do it. And I had to talk to her, make sure you want to do this, right? You make sure it's more than just, this is not just like a home video here for friends and family. This is also for strangers on the internet. How do you go to your girlfriend and say, I want to film you for something? It's a little awkward at first, but I think she's warmed up to it. And I think people definitely have started to like her. So I think people like that. That's kind of what I'm trying to get into, is get into this channel where it's not you're not seeing just my car. You are seeing me, and here's my significant other, the most important woman in my life here.
Yeah. So you kind of, it's all, I guess you're kind of creating a community with your fans and involving them
Right.
as much as you feel comfortable putting out on the internet.
Right. Actually, one of the big inspirations for that is, I guess, I don't know if he's really a huge channel, but I think it just hit 100,000. If it's a channel out of Virginia called JD Joyride TV.
I've heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, he has I originally subscribed. He has a Shelby Mustang. He recently got a Chevy C10 pickup truck, and then he just got a Camaro. He has his wife and kids on the channel a lot, and that's actually what makes me watch again and again. It's like, it's not just your car. I love the car. Then I see the family, and it's like, wow, they all support him. They all love what he does. He's a family man. I can get along with that. I feel like if I met him in person, I can get along with him.
Yeah, no, he seems really cool. He's the guy who had that crazy Shelby with the roll cage and was it supercharged or was it turbo? I can't remember now. Supercharged.
I believe it's supercharged. He has a VMP Gen 3R, if I remember correctly. He's sponsored by VMP. VMP is based out of Florida, so he did a big road trip to get that put on. I remember watching that. And VMP actually, that's another one. They're 4 hours away from me. Another one of those where, and that's considered close. Yeah, I remember that. He did that whole video. He has an RV. He makes a lot of content with that. And that's what I love is he can just take any vehicle and make content with it. And that's cool.
Yeah, I think who else did VMP? Was it that dude in blue who got the VMP supercharger? He did like 2 or 3 of them for a video chat.
Yes, I do remember that he did. He tried out different ones, and they were like, "Here's the dyno," and it was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. You can see what the differences are." It's like if I got my knowledge correct of VMP, and it was like, here's the cheap setup. It puts out this amount of power. Here's kind of the intermediate setup. It puts out a little more, and here's the most expensive one, and this is what it puts out. But yeah, I remember. Yeah, that dude in blue did one. It is the Grabber Blue Mustang.
Yeah, well, have you followed that one a lot, and has that kind of inspired you a bit with your Mustang?
Yes, that's definitely one I followed, because then he's got the blue Mustang, and then he's got a 2018 like mine, which I've been watching that. Just like that's gonna give me some ideas, because eventually, once I get my truck mostly paid off, I'm definitely looking to start putting some money back into my Mustang.
Yeah, that's the white one, the 2018 one he got, wasn't it?
Yes, Sub-Zero, I think he calls it.
Yeah.
Smurf is the blue one, and then that's a 2013, which is the older Mustang. Which 2013, I remember one of my friends in college got a 2014, and it was like right as he got it, the 15s came out, and the S550, and it was like, wow, that is. I hate to say it to him, man, the 15 is a way better car. That was actually what inspired me to get one. I never really liked the older ones, but then when I saw the new one, it's like, that's making me change my mind about Mustangs.
So were you not like a big fan of Mustangs back in the day, and is it something that you kind of warmed into?
I definitely warmed into them. I always liked them. I remember back in the day when I was growing up, the 2005 came out, and that was the retro Mustang. And I remember I wanted one then, and I was 10 years old. But I just remember looking at it like, wow, that looks so good. But I never really liked them because Mustangs, they weren't very powerful back in the day. They were kind of a laughing stock, like, V8 that makes 200 and something horsepower. It was like, that's it. And they're famously slow, plus the crowd killer jokes online. I just never really cared for it. So then the 2015 came out, and I remember, wow, that actually looks really good. It's still a Mustang, though. And the day that changed my mind was, as I mentioned, we have the Tampa Bay International Auto Show. They had a test drive, and it was the only time in that show's history they brought a manual to it. Americans can't drive manuals, I can. I feel like I'm an exception. Both my vehicles.
No one's going to steal your car because I can't drive it away.
No one will steal either one of my vehicles because of that. The Mustang or the Tacoma, because they're both manual. Anyway, I drove the manual, and it was like, it actually drives really nice. I hate to say this. I'm going to admit this. I want a Mustang now. It just drove really well for what it was. I thought, man, surely it's going to drive awfully. No, it was like, wow, it's smooth. The power comes on really well. You know what? And they're not. And my thoughts are they're not that expensive, by American standards.
Yeah.
That's the thing. As I always have to explain, they're cheap over here. In Europe, I know they're massively expensive.
Yeah. So you said it was a good car to drive when you test drove it. Did it go around corners well?
It's not the best. I will not say. Miata is much better handling.
Yeah.
But you can throw it into a corner pretty well. I don't want to say it's going to outhandle other cars, but compared to older American cars, it can corner. You can take it down a back road or a mountain road. You can enjoy it. You will have some fun. You're not worried about the handling of the car. And
so it's kind of fixed that little stigma of American cars can only drive in straight lines.
Right. It definitely, the new Mustangs, the S550 Mustang, definitely does more than driving in a straight line. It definitely will go around a corner. It definitely handles well. As I said, I got a performance pack, so it's got a little stiffer suspension. It's got the bigger rear tires. I think that's well worth it because it handles like a dream to me. again, Miata is, you want true handling, get a Miata.
Yeah,
But the Miata is the opposite. You can't have fun in a straight line.
yeah, no, not at all. That the very very lackluster in power, but you don't need all that when you're going on a backcountry road
Right.
and yeah. So I mean, they're great. I had a little Z3, which is not a lot of horsepower. I think it's 140 brake horsepower, which is nothing compared to what America gets.
Right.
Like I think the average horsepower in America must be so much higher than the average horsepower here in the UK or Europe. We have very low horsepowered cars compared, I think.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that was straight line, nothing special, but going around corners and on track was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Right. Because I mean that's the Z3. When I say Z3, 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 translating. I mean, my knowledge of those, they're kind of like a BMW Miata. It's kind of what they are. Every time I've seen them around here. I mean, problem is it's such a small car. I know not a lot of people daily drive them around here because the trunk space is so small and only a two-seater.
Yeah,
It'd be a fun car to have.
yeah. I mean, I had it as my daily for a couple of years, and it's not impractical because I upgraded the bumper on mine, got the sports bumper, and I had to pick it up in my Z3 and then drive it home, and I put it in the passenger seat with the roof open.
Oh, there you go.
So that was great, and I've taken it all over the place, and it's a brilliant car. I've driven it in torrential downpours and snow, so yeah, it served its purpose, and I'd love to get it back on the road at some point. It failed its MOT, its inspection. It's got corrosion.
Oh,
It's how much do I want to save the car, and if I save it, how am I going to put all the money into it to make it a proper forever car, or is there something
right.
I want to do that with? So
Is it the sentimental value worth the cost of fixing to what most people are going to see as an old rusty BMW? You see as that's my baby, that's my car. I love it. Yeah,
yeah,
I get what you're saying. I see people do that.
yeah, it's exactly that. But I've been looking at some other cars, and the old BMW E36s. Those I think look absolutely amazing, and
Right.
if I could get something like that, see that's the problem. I think in the States you guys have something the drift tax like the Nissan
Yep.
Silvias. I think here in Europe it's exactly the same. Where the E36s, people have just bought them because they were obviously mass produced. They were so cheap
Right.
a few years ago that people have bought them for nothing, and then just turned them into track cars or welded the diff and
Yep.
turned them into drift cars.
Yep. That's the same thing here.
So finding a nice one owner manual is not so easy anymore.
That's a needle in a haystack, and when you find it, you're going to pay for it. It's the same thing here because you see the Nissan S chassis cars, S13s. You know, we got as the 240 SX. You know, you'll see them. They're always either completely modified. Some big money has gone into them to make them nice. They're completely modified cheaply, and it's like, again, how is that still legal and on the road? Or you see one that's completely original, and they're going to want a huge sum of money for it. I think E36 is the same thing with an E36. That's kind of my philosophy. I've noticed that with cars. You know, it starts off as a mass-produced car, nothing special. But someone realizes, hey, I could turn this into a race car. Suddenly, as it's really cheap, everyone buys them up, makes them race cars. Then you can't get a good one anymore, and then all of a sudden the originals become collector cars.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me not being able to search properly, but I've noticed. Well, the E36s, the Z3s, they were all really cheap. Like up to a couple of years ago, you could find them everywhere, and it's the same with a lot of other cars. But now, I don't know exactly what type of cars you'd get for the same money as you would, a cheap mass-produced car from a couple of years ago. There's nothing like the E36 was when it came out was amazing, and when the factory race cars were really well known. So once the prices dropped, everyone turned them into race cars. But since the E36, what else is there that's, I don't know, maybe the new or the GT86, but that's still really expensive, and that's not really.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, they're fairly cheap here, but they just had the American by American standards, it's the 200 horsepower. Nobody wants them here. You see, mostly they're show cars around here. A lot of people say, actually, my girlfriend doesn't know how to drive manual, so I actually got the suggestion from somebody, why don't you get one of those? That's a perfect first manual car. And then we got another one over here. It's kind of like the same as the E36. I don't know if you're familiar with the Fox body Mustangs, the 1979 to 1993, very boxy looking Mustangs. They're like that. That's the same thing. You pay kind of the drift tax. Everyone made them into drag cars for so long.
Yeah, I saw one on Street Outlaws. That's where I know it from.
Yep, I think there was seems like the high point of that show. There were like 3 or 4 of them on there, but people did that for so long because you could buy a cheap Fox body for next to nothing. You could then go to the junkyard, get a Chevy LS engine, which they're dime a dozen over here because everyone drives a truck. Every Chevy truck had some form of LS engine in it, so you can go pick one of those up for a few $100s, rebuild it in your garage, put it in the Fox body, and you have a race car for almost nothing.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, here in the UK and the rest of Europe, I think you can't really go to a junkyard and find a big engine to put in your small underpowered car. Well, you could, but it'd still be a lot more expensive than it seems over in the States.
Right.
The massive stuff you guys have over there makes
it everything has a V8
build on the cheap.
Yeah, we can build engines cheap here. I mean, and then everyone will talk about wanting some exotic engine that no one else gets. They want the Ford Barra motor from Australia, and it's like we have the LS here. We have LS is next to nothing. Why would you want to go to Australia and get this motor? Okay. It's your dream.
YouTube views, right? I think Adam LZ just put his a Barra in his, I don't know, probably another S body car.
Right.
But yeah, so I was like, oh, that's an Australian engine, but just something different to all the other LS swaps that everyone's doing.
Yeah, LS swap is dime a dozen here. After a while, it's like, what kind of motor it has? Oh, another LS. It's almost, sometimes it disappoints you when you see it. Like, I'll see something different. It's like, wow, finally not an LS swap.
Yeah, I think I've seen someone do a 2JZ swap on an E36 or an E30, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those.
Yeah, or you can get really wild and put a 4-rotor in the in your RX-7. Like, was it Rob Dahm? Rob Dahm's done that, yeah.
And then he's doing the Corvette with the 4-rotor.
Just destroying it.
I'm ready to see that happen because the C8 Corvette, I made a vlog a while ago. I got to sit in one for 30 seconds. I had a big event here for that, and that's been one of those interesting cars that's out there. And I think he got the first wrecked one. That was interesting watching that, and he's going to put a 4-rotor in it.
Yeah. What is it with? Well, I guess it's a lot of YouTubers in the States. They buy wrecked cars and then fix like wrecked supercars. I know Tavares. He's in Florida, isn't he?
I think he is. Yeah, I couldn't tell you where. He's probably mentioned it before, but I know he's in the state of Florida.
Yeah, but his whole thing is buying wrecked cars that's been in fires or just been smashed to bits, and then putting in. I think I stopped watching him after a while because it was just the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I think he's going to put like a Lamborghini engine in a McLaren or something like that. I was like, what are you doing?
After a while, it's
wilder and wilder.
Yeah, after a while, it's like, you're just doing that for views. I remember the first one he did, and I think that's actually how he really blew his channel up with it. He bought a Gallardo.
Yeah.
That it was in the fire, and I think that was the first. It was a twin turbo, and it was like, I remember watching that. Like I'd watched a couple of his videos working on a Mercedes SL at one point and some other cheap cars, fairly cheap, kind of not very special cars. And he buys that Gallardo, and I'm like, okay, now you have my attention. I want to see what you're going to do with it. That was one I definitely loved. And then he got the Murcielago, the Fast and the Furious car. I'm like, that's going to be pretty cool. Like, you're going to restore that. Now, those had me interested. But I know what you're saying. Then it started to turn into there's some other wrecked car, and I was like, oh, okay,
like Hoovy's 458 or something that was half burnt from the back
right
in.
three.
Okay, that's. I think I was watching that one, so I thought, okay, that's cool. You can rebuild a Ferrari, and he said something about putting like a Lambo engine in. I was like, okay, no, I can't. I can't watch you do this to the car.
Yeah, I mean, it was what it was. I forgot what it was. It was 348, 35, one of the 90s models. I'm not the biggest Ferrari fan. The 90-something Ferrari. It was cool. Like, it started off cool. Like, oh, he's gonna rebuild it. I kept thinking, just rebuild that motor, just gut it, make it a race car, do something fun with it. But once you start doing some unholy engine swaps, it's like, yeah, okay, you lost me on that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's cool. It's cool content. It's
right.
Cool to see, but I think it's not really attainable, so it's not that relatable. I think definitely for someone in my position, it's not like, oh yeah, I can at some point I can get a burnt out Ferrari, rebuild it with a Lambo engine. It's kind of okay. That's where it gets a bit boring.
No, like that's why I'm in the same way. The YouTubers I follow, I like to watch. If I want to watch someone do something crazy, it's got to be something still what I consider cool. Like Cletus McFarlane, I watch that because it's like, all right, I know I can't do any of that, but I'm going to watch. And I'm only 45 minutes from the Freedom Factory, so when he gets events going there, you better believe there's going to be a vlog on my channel for Freedom Factory vlog.
Yeah, that's cool. I've not been keeping up to date too much. What is the Freedom Factory that he's got?
He bought an old racetrack, an old circle track, and decided to completely repurpose it into kind of his own vision. Because he does an event called Cletus in Cars, where it started off with drag racing, and then basically it looked like to me when I was watching the channel, he did this big trip to Australia and saw the burnout competition, decided to do that for himself. So he took this racetrack. In the center of it, he built a large concrete pad solely to do burnouts on and skids. And I was like, wow, that is awesome. So basically, he just said, I'm going to make this property to my own facility to run these events.
That's crazy. And, well, yeah, the fact that he's got all of that ability from, I'm assuming a lot of it from YouTube to be able to do that.
Right.
Absolutely insane.
Right. Because I think he's at, 2 million subscribers? Last time I looked, he's at a really high number. And it's like, at that number and making videos every day, you're going to be making some money. He's got the money to do it. And then with the events, it really does become a business then, because then you charge admission for the events, and then it's going to go from there. So I'm really excited for him to get his events back up and running once the COVID ends.
Yeah,
I really want to go down and see one of these events, because for a long time I worked on the weekends, so I never was able to go to Cletus in Cars. So I'm finally excited. Like, I don't work weekends, and now he's got this. So I want to see it. I want to actually see what this is all about. I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, I can. Well, YouTuber putting on a crazy car event would be amazing to go to. I think I've been to Cars and Coffee in somewhere in California, Orange County area, and I think that's the biggest Cars and Coffee in the state. And there were cars from Ferraris to, I think there was a Rimac there.
I believe you.
Yeah, or maybe not a Rimac, but it was like an independent electric supercar. And the story behind it was that someone had bought it, and his wife told him basically get rid of the car or I'm leaving. So he sold it for next to nothing to get rid of it.
That sounds about right.
Picked it up and was just, this is now my electric supercar that no one else has. It's like one of one or something.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's why I love Cars and Coffee. You run into things like that. We have the one here, which I wouldn't call it the biggest. That's probably the biggest in this state would probably be, I think, West Palm Beach Cars and Coffee. That's 4 hours away, and I'm not getting up on a Saturday morning to drive 4 hours for a 2-hour car meet. But we have one called, it's DuPont Cars and Coffee. DuPont Registry is this big dealership that sells a lot of exotics. So they put on a Cars and Coffee. And we see all sorts of exotics, like Ford GTs, a lot of Ferraris. There was a LaFerrari there a while ago. They actually were selling it. They actually pulled it outside. We had a Pagani Huayra Roadster. Some incredible cars.
Are those, well, I assume there's a Pagani that's not legal in the States, isn't there?
Yeah, there's anything that's not U.S. market is completely illegal, and that's kind of the big one. Is the big illegality here is if it's not 25 years old, it's completely illegal.
Yeah.
There is the substantially similar clause where if they sell something in Europe and they sell an identical version in the US, you could import a European version and convert it over. But by the time you're done spending all the money doing that, you might as well have just bought an American version. So not many people do that. So we do get a lot of like European classics and not Japanese classics, but they have to be 25 years old or older.
Yeah. I think the biggest one is the R34, isn't it? That you can't,
right.
It's illegal in the States still. It might be just coming up to 25 years.
When did they come out? 1998, I think. If I've got my knowledge correct of those.
Probably closer than my guess would be.
It's one of those. It was the late 90s. I did see an R34 once. In Florida, there again, the no inspection. There's like a loop. There's people who've done this loophole of you register it, so it was like a Nissan Altima or some equivalent. It was like registered as something else, but it was a legitimate R34. I was like, that's legal. That's legal here. And the guy's like, I mean, it's kinda, yeah. It was interesting to see. And it wasn't even a GTR. It was one of the, I don't even know if it was a GTS or not. It was like one of the lesser variants, but it was still like the only time I've ever seen one in person. And it was a cool sight to see. But then I think that same car meet the next week, I saw an S15 Nissan Silvia, which is another one of those where it's illegal here, but unless you get lucky enough to pull the Florida clause, that's a Nissan Altima or something technically.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I mean, why are those laws in place? Like for the R34, why was that? Is it just because it wasn't made to the US safety standards at the time?
Basically, if it's not to US standards. In fact, I think they don't even have airbags. And that was in that era. That was right when they started doing. I think that's right when they did the airbag requirement in the US. It wasn't made to US standards, so technically they don't want it here. So if it's 25 years old, they reason that it's going to be a classic. And I think it's the entirety of the US. I think every state. In some states it's a little bit less, but it's 25 years old. It's legally an antique. So they figure if it's an antique, it's not going to get driven every day. Yeah, they get so technical caught up with it. My thoughts are it's still a modern car. I mean, I might not daily drive it, but I definitely would drive it.
I mean, my car, my Z3 was a year younger than me, and I daily drove it. So I'm 23, so it was, yeah, a car that. I mean, then you got people in Fox bodies from 1979 riding around, and that's perfectly legal. So
yeah, I mean, old cars. I don't understand. That's why I don't get it. It's like just because it's not up to standards, people drive around in old cars. It's like the classic, that's not up to modern standards. It was up to standards in whatever year it was new. Like, that's just why I don't get it. I think that law should be changed. Make it like 10 years old, because even then, most cars, you know, if it's special enough, no one's gonna be driving it to work every day. I mean, and then the thing with the R34s, I think just because they don't have airbags, I think that's the big one. In Japan, I don't know what year they made airbags a requirement, but it seemed like it was much later than the US.
Yeah, but then they, like you said in Florida, everyone's modifying cars. Take out the steering wheel, put a Momo steering wheel on it, no airbag.
Right.
And that's fine because no one gets inspected.
Right. Yeah, I know. Florida,
it's all weird. It's all weird and not helpful.
Right. And like I said, in Florida, things might be illegal other places and then somehow end up being legal just solely because we don't get inspection. When you see drift cars with the crazy camber kits driving around, then you know you're in Florida. I think I don't know if I've ever posted a picture of it. There was a guy that I mentioned earlier, Quaker Steak and Lube. There was a guy who has an E36, actually, of all cars, with the crazy camber kit. He would just show up to the meet. He would always turn the wheel so you'd see it, and it was like, wow, he just drives around in that every day.
Very, very worn inside tires then.
Right. Florida, we get some crazy exemptions. People doing it. Actually, if you ever look through the pictures of Quaker, you just see some crazy cars that you wouldn't expect, and only in Florida.
Yeah. So only in Florida, on that topic, take it you've seen a lot of the memes of Florida man does X crazy thing or Florida woman does X crazy thing.
Oh boy, Florida! Don't get me started on Florida, man.
So it is that crazy that how often does Florida man does insanely crazy thing?
If you watch the news here, there's a couple articles a week that it's like wow, that really just happened. In fact, I was at work the other day. I heard it's like, hey, breaking news, down the street from where I work, car drove through a house. Wow. And it's like, you can't tell me this guy was drinking because it's the middle of the day. That's Florida. He probably was. In fact, one of the local radio stations around me, they have a call-in game every morning called Florida or Not Florida. They just read some crazy article and the caller has to guess, did that happen in Florida or not Florida? And you hear some crazy things, and sometimes you're listening to it like, no, that's just not Florida enough. I'm going to go with not Florida.
What are some of the crazier headlines that have been put out that are true?
Boy, where do I even start? There's been some crazy ones here. Oh, there was every time there's one dealing with cannibals. Those are yes, I know.
Every time that happens a lot.
I wouldn't say a lot, but there's been at least a few in the past decade, 2 or 3, where you're just like, hold up, that really happened?
Oh, wasn't there this thing where everyone thought the zombie apocalypse was starting because a man was on bath salts and ate someone's face?
Yes, I remember that. Yes, you're dragging that out of the pits of my memory. I remember that. It was the guy was on bath salts and ate a homeless man's face off. Yes, I remember that.
Florida man strikes again.
Yeah, that's what it was. We were all like, okay. Bath salts. So don't do them, kids. Don't do bath salts.
Spend your money on cars instead.
Yeah, have fun modifying your car, hack the exhaust off, do all that. Don't do drugs. Just say no to drugs. Yeah, you see all sorts of them. Or actually, there was another one it was my personal favorite. It was a criminal. See, in the county over from me, we have this, it's kind of a local Florida hero, Sheriff Grady Judd, famous county sheriff, and he's always on the news. He makes the comments about pretty much everything that happens. So this is about 15 years ago. There was a police dog that got shot, and there was a criminal he shot at. We have guns all over here. Welcome to Florida. Everyone's got a gun. He shot at the cops and then killed the dog. So when the cops finally got to him, they shot him 158 times. And so Grady Judd gets up there, Sheriff Judd. He's like, he makes a whole statement about that. It's like one of his famous moments of, why'd you shoot him 158 times? Because they ran out of bullets. It's a famous line from him, and he's done more. He's done a lot more crazy ones than that. There was another one. We have hurricanes down here, so every time that happens, they have to open up shelters. So he made a comment one day, said, now if you have a warrant and you go to stay in the shelter, we'll give you a shelter in the Polk County Jail. You could stay in the Long Bar Hotel, he called it.
That's crazy.
Boy, that was up there.
That's great. I mean, look, Hollywood have made 3 films or 4 films based on someone getting revenge for a gang killing their dog. So,
John Wick, you kill my dog and steal my Mustang, we're gonna have a problem too. So
yeah. Yeah, you brought up hurricanes. We don't have that in the UK. We've had a couple of tornadoes and a few very light earthquakes that we might have felt the beds rumble around for a bit, but nothing as crazy as evacuate into an underground shelter hurricanes. What's that like over there?
I mean, everyone else in the country panics and they act like it's going to be the end of the world. In Florida, we get them fairly often. So if it's below about category 3, we get our beer, we party, get gas for the generator, and we just have fun. It's like, oh, cool. I don't have to go into work today because it's a hurricane. I mean, it can be scary at the same time. I mean, you always have to take it seriously because realistically speaking, the media always makes it sound horrible, but really, all that's ever going to happen, you're going to lose your electricity for a day or two, and if you're prepared, you won't have any issues.
Yeah, when we watch the news over there, because there's hurricane coming, they make it seem like it's the day after tomorrow.
Yeah, they do.
All they do is just
media.
show pictures of people lining up to get gas and provisions and boarding up doors and windows.
Yeah, everyone makes it look so horrible, and it's like, I mean, I guess I haven't been live now for all the hurricanes we've been through here. I think we've only had to board up for one, and that was Hurricane Irma back in 2017. And luckily, where I live, the town I'm in, we're on a little bit of a hill, so we don't have a flood issue. But I remember there was a big gas shortage because everyone went and panic bought gas. They went and bought bottled water, which the water still runs. I've only ever been in one hurricane where the water quit running.
What about toilet paper? In hurricanes, do people panic buy toilet paper?
No, of all things, that's one of the things. After the coronavirus, I bet you next hurricane we get, there's going to be a toilet paper shortage again. It'll happen. The news tells you need to go get something. Everyone panic buys it. It gets a little crazy, but I don't know. Sometimes if you just turn off the news, it's never as bad as it really is.
Yeah.
All of our structures here, they have to be hurricane rated, so your roof's not going to blow off unless you're in a really old house.
How does that work, the hurricane? Is it just this is a strong building that won't get pulled apart because it's not old, or?
Basically, it's the support structures. I know in our house we had what they call hurricane straps put in. Basically, it's like bolts to the top of the roof and then down, and that just helps hold the roof down because this house is just old enough to miss a lot of the standards, but it's new enough to where it meets a good number of them, but it's not as strong as new construction.
Yeah, and with your cars, are you ever worried? Well, you said you're on a hill, so you're not worried about flooding. So I guess it's just put the Mustang away in the garage, and that's safe there.
Basically, that's the most I'm worried about. It's more my truck has to stay outside just because we don't have enough garage space. I'm more worried about is a tree going to fall on it more than anything. The Mustang, it's in the garage, and our garage door, we have a set of. I think actually no, our garage door is new enough to where I think it's hurricane rated. If something were to hit the garage door, it would be fine. When we first moved into this house years ago, we had a set of what they call hurricane bars. They would just bolt up to the garage door. You couldn't open it, but if something were to hit it, it wouldn't collapse the garage door.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Do you see that? I guess it went a little bit viral in the car social media thing. There was a hurricane and someone had an RX-7 in a parking lot, but on stands.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Like 2-3 feet of water. So
I remember seeing that one. There was one, I think it was from Hurricane Irma. Feels like it was a few years old. It was an E30 M3. The guy pulled it inside of his living room. It was that one. I think that was the first one I saw. There was one it was Hurricane Harvey in Texas. The floodwaters were coming in, and then the guy goes out in the flood and put up on jack stands. I think it was I can't remember what car it was. It was an E30 or an E36. It was another BMW. The guy put up on jack stands in the flood to save it. And he did save it. It was like, that was incredible.
Yeah, it
And
seems to
then,
be a lot of love for the E36s over
yeah.
there.
I mean, he doesn't want to have to pay the drift tax. So believe me, I don't blame him. If it's, and I think I remember correctly, it was an M3 on top of that. So it was like, that's worth some serious money.
Yeah, no, they are great cars. I mean, yeah, they're great cars. You got to save them. You can't let them sit outside and get drowned. Yeah, it's crazy that, I mean, I don't know, what else does America have that that we don't have here in Europe, weather-wise? But you don't get earthquakes over in Florida, do you, that much?
Yeah, I don't think we do. I don't think, did we have, I feel like, no, that was Virginia. When we were still living in Virginia, we had one small one. I was like 8 years old. I was actually running through the house at the time, so I actually missed it. Actually, it was weird. It was because I was running. I had shoes on. I didn't really feel it. It was kind of a shock because over there, the East Coast here, we don't get earthquakes. California's the one that gets the earthquakes. So yeah, California gets earthquakes, wildfires.
All the crazy stuff.
Yeah, the mountainous areas, you get avalanches. Florida gets hurricanes.
And Florida Man.
And Florida Man, you get random Florida Man attacks. Yeah, Florida's, I mean, it's like, Florida Man sounds crazy, but at the end of the day, Florida, I think, is one of the more tame states to live in because hurricane's never as bad as the media portrays it, unless it's some crazy Category 5. Hurricanes will never be that bad.
Yeah.
Oh, lightning. Actually, we get lightning. That's
quite
actually Tampa. If I remember correctly, Tampa is actually the Native American word for lightning. It's named after, because Tampa itself gets a lot of lightning, so people who are not from Tampa are thrown off by all the lightning. Like, wow, that's scary. You get used to it.
How often does that happen?
In the summertime, like right now, every day we get just about every day, good lightning storm. Which is ironic. Florida is the sunshine state. And that's in the wintertime, it's all sunshine. In the summertime, it's all rain. We get seasonal.
So come over to Florida when it's wintertime. That's the best time to come.
And of course, we get snowbirds. People come down from up north, all the snow states, and they come and they'll have their winter home in Florida. So actually, if you are into cars, that is when you want to come down because people bring their cars. We get like all over the place. We have a good number of Canadians that'll even come down. And they're always in culture shock when they first come here. So yeah, of course it's not raining. Some people don't want to drive their cars in rain at all, which I don't understand that. I'm like, a little rain won't kill it, but yeah, definitely wintertime is better.
Yeah, scared of the big rust that will come if they take out in any sort of rain.
Right. Meanwhile, I'm like, that rain's not going to rust it. Snow will rust, but rain, I don't think. Most people, I think, overreact with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Go back to your Mustang. What are your future plans for that? Where do you see yourself with it?
Definitely with boost. I mean, that's kind of a given. Like I said, I don't know. Not really set in stone yet, but I definitely am thinking much more show car direction, a lot more. I don't want it to be all show and no go, but it's definitely more going to be for cars and coffee, more for. I do want to take it down a track at some point, but I think for the most part, it's going to be more of a back road cruiser. Unless I decide to put it on like a collector car policy, I think it's always going to be kind of my date night car right now. Take my girlfriend out. She really loves the Mustang. In fact, I actually was thinking about selling it a while ago. I was going to get another Mustang. I was going to get an older, we call the Terminator Cobra Mustang from 2004. I was looking at it. I found one I really liked, and it was a guy I know. I showed it to my girlfriend. I was like, babe, what do you think about me getting this car? Oh, what is it? You don't have any room to put another Mustang. I was like, no, I'm going to sell the 18. You sell that car, I'm going to kick your ass. That answers that question. I guess I'm not getting this car.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, she won't let me sell it, so that was when the transmission was broken on it. So that was I guess I think you remember that one.
Yeah, I remember you had it on for a while. I think
Whole
that's
month
when I featured you in my little Instagram thing of this week on
Yep.
cars, because you were pointing.
I remember that. Yep. Yeah, it was gone for a while. It was a good month. It was at the dealership. You had to go through all of the bureaucracy of, first of all, now Ford has to prove it broke not because of me, and it's like a trial when that happens. You got to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt that I did not break the car. Because I made a video, I guess over 2 years ago, where it first started having problems that would grind in third gear, and sometimes it would just completely lock me out of gear. I took it to the dealership. I had a mechanic ride with me. I said, look, watch this. See, it grinds. Basically, I got the car back a day later, and they said, learn how to drive. I remember I made this whole video about it where I was like, it's clearly not my driving. I'm pushing the clutch down all the way. The seat's in a good position. It's going to break that shift fork. That was a very common issue with 18s. I said, it's going to break it, and it's going to be a major, I told you so. And everyone in the comments was like, no, man, just learn how to drive. Finally, when it broke, I actually took that clip, put it in, and said, guys, I told you so.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, I guess they're just trying to limit anything they have to pay out for it, but
right.
I considering that Americans don't know how to drive stick, they'll probably get away with a lot of just learn how to drive, and it's not our fault.
Right. And a lot of the thing with modifications. See, we have what's called the Magnuson Warranty Act of 1974. It's a government act that specifically says you can modify your car however you please, and unless that modification directly causes a problem, a dealership cannot deny your warranty because of modifications. So what that means is when you do something to your car and it breaks, if the dealership can prove that modification broke it, they don't have to pay a warranty claim. Well, the problem is they always are trying to get out of it. Like you're familiar with the Dodge Hellcat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 707 horsepower supercharged car. There was another YouTuber, SRT Mush. He had one right when they came out. He put an aftermarket air filter on it. And then later the supercharger had a bearing failure. They went and tried to blame that air filter, and it was like beyond a reasonable doubt. Like, wait a minute. Air filter is not going to cause a bearing failure. It didn't make sense. So he was able to use his I think he went viral with that, and he was able to get that replaced under warranty through another dealership. But it was like, man, that's a lot of headache. So people with Mustangs actually are regularly messaging me, hey, the dealer saw that I have headers or an intake on my car, and they won't cover a warranty claim. And I tell them all the time, they always are messaging me about it. I say, go to another dealer. That dealer is dishonest, because nothing that has nothing to do with the power of the car. Mine is stock. I've never added horsepower to my car, and it broke under the stock horsepower.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that you buy your car from a dealer, you try to take it back because you have it in writing, warranty, it's fine, do it, and then they turn you away and say, well, no, it's modified, it's not our problem, or pay us extortionate amounts of money to fix it.
Yeah, it's frustrating when it happens, but I mean, Ford is one of the worst offenders about that. I see a lot of people with different Toyotas will have issues, and Toyotas are reliable, so it's always a trivial issue. And it's like, well, no, that's kind of trivial. I don't think I would try to go through the dealer with that.
Yeah, a bit of a classic joke. I don't know if it's well, it's probably not a classic joke in the States, but here in UK and Europe it is. Ford, it stands for found on roadside dead.
Yep, everyone. Well, we say found on road dead or fix or repair daily. Those are the two Ford jokes. Yeah, that's a pretty universal joke. And I do understand. As soon as I said Ford's burning oil, you got that joke. My dad had a Ford way back in the day. He actually had a couple of different Fords, and when I told him I wanted to buy a Mustang, he immediately tried to talk me out of a Ford because of that. Telling me all about his experience, like, oh, it was a piece of junk when I had it. And he had a Ford Tempo, and I guess I don't know if you have those in Europe. I've only ever seen like two. This is the 80s, so none of them are on the road anymore anyway. believe it got replaced with the Escort and later the Focus, so that same size car. He mentioned all the problems it had had. And then he had a Mercury Sable. Mercury was kind of Ford's slightly upmarket brand.
Yeah.
They said same thing. It just always had a lot of part failures. It just seemed like, and not like it would, like wear items not lasting that long. And he said, my dad's had nothing but Toyotas, and he swears up and down by the brand. Like, hey, Toyotas are reliable. I've never had any issues with either of the two Toyotas I've had, so I'm very happy with Toyota.
Yeah. What's your plan for the Tacoma? Is it just upgrade it a little bit to suit daily use a bit more
or
or
less.
is there a little bit more to it?
I mean, it's 4-wheel drive, so it's probably maybe getting a lift kit, some tires. I think long term, like really long term, I kind of want to make it an overland truck. You know, there's all these great places in the U.S. You know, it's a big country. All these amazing places to see. I really want to start visiting a lot more because, you know, as the money to travel comes in, I definitely want to start doing a lot more. Like right now, I think when COVID is over with, my girlfriend, we're talking about going up to the mountains in Georgia, which is only, 6-hour drive from us. We might rent a cabin and we'll go up the side, probably up on a mountain. You know, I actually did that a couple of years ago in North Carolina. I never made a vlog about it, and I honestly should have. I didn't really have this much competency with YouTube at the time, so I didn't really want to make a terrible vlog. But we did just that. We rented a cabin up on a mountain. And at the time, we flew in, so I rented a Nissan Xterra, which is a 4-wheel drive SUV. Or so I thought. It was actually 2-wheel drive. I didn't realize they made a 2-wheel drive version, but either way, it got us up the side of the mountain. It was like, we had a lot of fun. It was just some awesome stuff. So we're talking about going to Georgia and doing the same. We'll just drive this truck up. So at some point, that's what I'm thinking. I kind of want it to be a truck I can make that could go anywhere. That's all kind of long term, though. It's all, as we all know, it's with car people, it's all money.
Yeah.
It's all where the money comes in. And having a payment on it means I kind of don't want to start modifying the bank's truck. I'd want to get it paid off, or get it paid off or mostly paid off.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, I think that's a good place to end, but we're not done just yet. We're going to do my quick fire questions. Some I know offhand, some I'll come up with if I can think of any. And I think the first one, we're going to run into a bit of a translation issue, so this could be fun. What's your favorite crisp flavor? And in America, they are potato chips.
Oh, I was going to say, I should know this one. I'm more of just kind of a plain. More into plain, I guess.
What kind of brands do you have over there? There's Lay's, I know that. That's the bag of
Lay's, Ruffles. Let's see, we have Fritos, corn chips, Doritos. I mean, Doritos, I think, are pretty universal. And on top of that, I'm not really a very big potato chip eater, crisp eater.
So just like the regular salted.
Yeah, more or less, just sort of the basic. I keep it simple.
Nice. That's good. Good choice. I think, this is, so all the people that I've had on my podcast that are from the UK, they all like Walker's prawn cocktail. And all the people who are foreign don't like, they haven't had it or they don't like it. I don't know if you have prawn cocktail in the States, but I think I might be onto a bit of a theory here that people from the UK like prawn cocktail and people who aren't from the UK don't like it.
I'd have to try it. I mean, I like, as I like to say, I'm kind of indirectly English. I'm like 10th generation English American. So some English food tastes good to me. It's like, well, I guess I'm indirectly English.
Cool. Okay.
I have to try it.
Favorite chocolate bar?
Oh, favorite chocolate bar. I've got a good few. I have to say my absolute favorite, we have from San Francisco, Ghirardelli chocolate. I don't know if you're aware of those in the UK. It depends on, some people say it differently. It's either Ghirardelli or Ghirardelli. It comes from San Francisco, and it's amazing chocolate. My grandmother was a huge chocoholic, so she's actually the one who got me into that. It's really just sweet and rich chocolate. As far as chocolate we can get here, my favorite honest chocolate I've ever had is German chocolate, but
Yeah, German chocolate is some of the best.
you can't get it here, so I'm not going to Germany every time I have a craving for chocolate.
Yeah, I know a few years back they changed the laws in the States about, or maybe the recipe or something for dairy milk chocolate, like Cadbury's. So because my aunt and uncle live in the States, we actually shipped them UK made like Cadbury bars so they could have the real or the proper ones, because it got changed to some other some more American focused recipe, and they had to, like, oh no, it's completely different, it's not the same as it was.
Oh, I believe that. So the real genuine chocolate from the UK, it's probably much better. I've heard that a lot about English food items. It's like if you have it in the UK, it's going to be totally different and much better than the Americanized version.
I'll send you over a bit of a care package then, with prawn cocktail crisps and some Cadbury's chocolate.
Hopefully the Cadbury's is good. Prawn cocktail, I mean, I don't even know. I'm gonna have to try it. We'll give it a try and let's see.
We'll see. Okay, you're staying in for the night. What's your go-to takeaway order?
Let's see. We can't see. Usually, if I'm gonna stay in, it's probably gonna be with my girlfriend, and we have a Chili's right down the street. Again, when it comes to ordering out, delivery, we're kind of basic. So yeah, I would have to say it's probably going to just be something from Chili's.
What kind of stuff do you get from Chili's?
Oh, it's supposed to be a Mexican restaurant. I don't think it really is. We usually they call loaded boneless wings. That's like my go-to order right now. It's chicken bites, chicken wings. It's got some bacon, some cheese, sour cream, green onions. It's horribly unhealthy, but boy, does it taste good.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds unholy American.
Oh, it's a stereotypical American food, but God, is it good? I don't eat it all the time because I actually would like to stay healthy. I don't want to have a heart attack, but boy, is it good though. It's a good weekend meal. It's a good cheat meal when I'm not trying to get something unhealthy.
Yeah, nice. That sounds good. At some point, I'd have to come over and try something like that.
Oh, you'd have to try a lot of the American cooking. Some of it, from what I understand, everyone in the rest of the world, they're just as culture shocked with our cooking as we would be of yours. I mean, we got Americans. We seem to love bold flavors. It's like some, and of course, big food over here. Everything is like big shock in Europe. When I went to Germany all those years ago, it was like it was small in Europe. Let's get by with this little food over here. Big stuff.
Yeah, it's probably explains why I'm always hungry. I'm a big eater, so I appreciate the American portion sizes.
Right.
Okay, what's your favorite film of all time?
God, favorite film. I don't know if I really consider one of them my favorite.
I can give you top 3. That's the best I can do.
Oh, top 3. I mean, even that's still kind of difficult. I'm trying to think of movies I've seen multiple times that are still good. Napoleon Dynamite is a good one. That's one I've watched multiple times, and it's always still good. It definitely is going to – it already is a classic. It's definitely going to be one in the future. Oh, after that, what are some other good ones I've seen? Men in Black is another one that I really love. Will Smith, the original. Everyone after that, it's definitely not as good, but the original Men in Black is it's definitely a really good one. I'm going to say Top Gun. Top Gun is definitely another movie I've seen. I remember when I first started dating my girlfriend, I made a lot of Top Gun references, and we kind of have a list. We kind of have our list of movies we need to watch together, and that was one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for anyone who's never seen Top Gun, she cried when Goose died.
Oh no, you had to drop that. You had to drop that in there.
She always cries in movies, but
Yeah, no,
Definitely. If I'm gonna have to pick a top three, that's my top three.
yeah. My girlfriend and I have got the same movie list, and Titanic's on there because I've never seen it before.
Oh,
I know what happens at the end. I think everyone knows what happens at the end, but I have no
I,
idea what happens between the start and the end. So
we actually just watched that one recently, and there's a couple scenes where I don't know if your girlfriend's like mine with she's the teary-eyed kind, but Titanic is a good one. It's long. I mean, it's gonna be a staying in kind of night.
yeah, I'll be prepared for that then.
Be prepared. It's long, but it's definitely a good one.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite song right now?
God, favorite song right now. That's another one I don't really pick a favorite on. I'm into a lot of, I would say, I'd call it kind of hipster music. I'm big into Radiohead. That's kind of the least hipster stuff. My problem is I don't really like, and this thing, I have a vinyl record player, so for me, I never really pick songs. I'm more of a favorite album type.
We can go for favorite album.
I mean, if I'm going to pick a favorite album, definitely is an album I've listened to multiple times. It's going to be OK Computer by Radiohead. That's an album I can listen to again and again, and it's always good.
Nice. Do you have any pets?
My girlfriend has a cat. By extension, I would say he's my pet.
Do you get
He's
on
my
well?
cat too. So that's I think that's it. Just the cat, and
What's its name?
he's Paws.
Pause.
Paws.
Yeah. Cool. That's cool. Do you guys get on well?
Yeah, he's a lovable cat when he wants to be. If you catch him on the wrong day, he will bite you. But the other thing is he doesn't get along with other cats, so he's the only cat in our life. Cat in our lives. He's the cat.
Yeah. Cool. Right. I can't think of any more questions off the top of my head or ones that I've done previously. So now the floor's open to you. Anything that you've got going on, anything that you've got coming up, your channel, any plugs you want to do, this is your time.
Well, we were talking about lighting. I mean, I don't know when this is going to go live, but right after this, I'm going to get back to editing. I've got another video going up with more lighting mods to the Tacoma. So if you like lighting mods, check that out. Definitely trying to get back into car shows and photography vlogs really soon. So I hope everyone who likes those will subscribe. I've done a few of these, and I definitely want to get back to them. I want to do a funny video. I've always enjoyed that. One of the things I've been kind of binge watching on quarantine has been some funny channels, some comedy stuff. So I want to get back into that. I definitely want to start making more funny things. Just give a variety to the channel, but of course, I'm sure it's going to be linked below. But my channel, it's just a car guy named Tom. My Instagram, when I post photography, that's just car guy Tom. Just a car guy named Tom didn't really fit on Instagram, but definitely want to get back into all of that.
Cool. Right. Well, that's it. All the links will be in the description below. And yeah, it's been great having you on the podcast. It's been great meeting with you and talking about Florida Man and all the cool stuff going on over there.
Yep. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. We will catch up later then.
Yeah, hopefully we can do this again soon.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. All right. Take care. Talk to you in a bit.
Have a good one, man.
See ya.